fans, and welcome to the Who Universe News, Doctor Who News video here. So, we've got some official figures and overnight figures finally released for Joy to the World, and I think it was almost a given going into the actual ratings for the figure ratings for Christmas that Gavin and Stacey was going to dominate most of it, considering it was the finale. And to be honest, it's proven fact because Gavin and Stacey won the overnight figures of 12.3 million, whilst Doctor Who respectfully got 4.1, and it was in sixth position considering it was competing with part two of EastEnders, Call the Midwife, and Wallace and Gromit as part of that day as well. But luckily, adding to that figure, you'll be amazed to know that James Corden's comeback to Gavin and Stacey, well, James Corden and Ruth Jones's Gavin and Stacey finale had a whopping 18 million tune in following Christmas Day. That tells you how big that episode was over Christmas. And to be honest, Russell T Davies even promoted this episode even when he was being interviewed about Doctor Who. He said he even told people, look, go and check out Gavin and Stacey. He said it on the One Show before Christmas, and rightfully so, because the program deserved it considering it was its last ever episode. And then on top of that, Doctor Who managed to gain another 2 million, which now puts it up to managed to get roughly 2 to 3 more million, which now has added taken it all the way up to 7 million viewers for Doctor Who, which is at least a really good result for Doctor Who, despite the fact that they weren't. I mean, it was pretty much fair that it wasn't going to compete with Gavin and Stacey, so at least it's great to know that Doctor Who had some result, despite the fact that, you know, Wallace and Gromit was going to get popular because of its return, and obviously Gavin and Stacey because of its finale, which, by the way, Wallace and Gromit itself managed to get 16 million tuning in over the course of leading into the new year. So that is pretty impressive results in a way, especially considering BBC basically dominated Christmas Day that just gone. So they literally dominated the day. I mean, ITV barely even got many people watching their stuff, which was, I know it's kind of a sorry state of a channel, but you know, when you've got Gavin and Stacey and you got all these other programs on the big day, I mean, it was almost a given that BBC was going to win by default because they knew how to win the fans over. So it was almost a given they were going to win. But anyway, so that is how the ratings have been doing for Doctor Who, and also the fact that Gavin and Stacey basically won Christmas and New Year overall with over 80 million tuning in to that final episode of Gavin and Stacey. Was 7 million tuned into Doctor Who this past Christmas, and I'm sure there's probably more people catching up with the episode even after Christmas, and if you are, I hope you're enjoying it. Of course, that is not the only piece of news of Doctor Who we did get, because it turns out we've actually rumoured title names for Series 2, or as Disney Plus is calling it, Season 2. I don't know why they're referring it to the American way of saying series and calling them seasons now, but yeah, Series 2, Ncuti Gatwa's second year as the Doctor. We've already got title names already placed for the series, and also we know Vanessa Sepha's companion name. She's going to be referred to as Beverly Chandler, who's going to be the name of her companion character when she takes on that role later this year. Surprisingly enough, she's actually going to be very similar to Ian and Barbara when they started in Doctor Who in 1963, when obviously we all know the story about them, considering Ian wanted to just go back home. Well, it turns out that Valerie Sepha's character is basically going to be similar to Ian wanting to get home, considering that the synopsis so far mentions that the Doctor meets Beverly and begins a quest to get her back to Earth. So almost very similar to Ian and Barbara back in the 60s. Either way, now of course, like I said, in terms of the rumoured episodes at this time, of course, we do know one of the writers who's going to be co-writing with Russell later this year, or at least has co-written with Russell for an episode this year. She's actually a person who actually won the New Writing Award for Channel 4 recently. She's referred to as Charmaine Walfo. She's basically pretty much a newbie in the writing scene. She has basically written the third episode of this season, of this upcoming series, which has been given a working title of 5 Miles. I know, it's kind of crazy, isn't it? We've got an episode title called 5 Miles Deep, which almost sounds very. And to be fair, the teaser trailer did show the Doctor and Beverly, who is the new companion, basically what appears to be in the sea or below the sea. So it might fit the description very, very well. 5 miles deep. So it looks like we're going to be definitely getting some form of a water episode or an episode under the sea during this year, which is going to be quite interesting. And then on top of that, we also got title names for what appears to be episodes 1, 2, and 4. So apparently the first episode is being referred to as Boss the Robot Revolution, which I don't know whether this is somewhat of a sequel to Tom Baker's Robot from the 70s or not. I wouldn't assume it would be, but if it is, then would be a bit of a coincidence considering it is the 50th anniversary year of the Fourth Doctor. So maybe it's a sequel. We're not too sure, but we'll find out soon enough if it is. And then episode 2 is being referred to as Lennox. God knows what that means, but there you go. And then episode 4 is going to be referred to as Lucky Day. Is a bit bizarre of a title name considering what's so lucky in the world of Doctor Who. Who knows? But we'll I'm sure we'll find out more when the BBC and the Doctor Who website reveals more details of what to expect from these episodes in 2025. But apparently these are the title names so far listed for when Doctor Who eventually when it does return, which hopefully is going to be at Easter when we'll hopefully see Doctor Who back for the new series. And in fact, there's actually, and surprisingly, there is a video circulating on YouTube already, and I believe it's from Disney Plus, where they're showing what appears to be a scene from the Robot Revolution, or at least that seems to be circling around all over YouTube recently. So we don't know whether this is indeed a legit scene taken from the episode or not. It seems like footage from that first episode, the Robot Revolution, might already have been circulating in recent days. If that's the case, then that's pretty interesting. That for some weird reason, somehow footage is a piece of that episode has already gotten out, even though it probably wasn't supposed to. But yeah, it's quite it'll be very interesting to see what happens now between now and Easter, whether or not Doctor Who is due back for Easter. Hopefully it is, and hopefully we're going to learn more about the new companion, and more importantly, what the rest of Series 2 has in store for Doctor Who when shooting return with the new companion. And obviously we do also know that Ruby Sunday will also be coming back at some point this year as well, as she was seen in the teaser trailer back on Christmas Day. So we know she'll be the series at some. So that's at least a little taste of things to come when Doctor Who returns later this year, or hopefully at Easter for the new series. At least a hint at some of the title names that are being what appears to be written down for some of the title names that are being worked on for this year's series. So it looks as though that this year's series is going to start with Robot Revolution when it hopefully returns for Easter weekend. So that is some news regarding the new series in terms of what's going on in terms of the upcoming Doctor Who series of Doctor Who that we're going to look forward to soon. And then of course we've got Doctor Who magazine that's just released its New Year issue. They're currently celebrating the War Games in colour, which you could obviously read more in the Doctor Who magazine right now. They're also chatting to Rudolph Walker, who also played a part in that story. You'll get to hear his thoughts on the War Games, because he was a part of the story back in the day. And then they also chat with Stephen Moffat about Joy to the World and about a scene that never made it to our screen. So basically a cut scene taken from Joy to the World that he does talk about in the magazine. And also there's going to be some stuff, and they also tend to look back. They're also going to be looking back at a scene from Space Babies as part of Script to Screen, and they're also going to start celebrating the 50 years of the stage play Seven Keys to Doomsday, and remembering that stage play of Doctor Who, and also looking back at the TV movie where they chat with Chad Lee's star about the memories of that story, and also Bonnie Lamford about Mel. Pretty much some New Year's resolutions in the world of Doctor Who as well. So you can finally have a chance. And they're also going to be looking ahead at the upcoming series as part of the Gallifrey Guardian feature. So this is all featured in the new Doctor Who magazine that's now available to celebrate the new year, with Patrick Troughton in the front representing the War Games in colour that just came out over Christmas. And speaking of War Games on colour, you'll be pleased to know there is a home video release coming for the War Games in colour, and that is going to be releasing, should be releasing pretty soon. I mean, they haven't put an exact date yet as to when you'll be able to get your hands on it, but at least it's good to know you can pre-order the War Games in colour, ready for a release, hopefully in the first half of 2025, which is going to give you something to look forward to. And yes, it's available for DVD, Blu-ray, and Steelbook case, as pre-orders have finally gone up for the War Games in colour, which they do mention as part of the synopsis. It will include the original 10 episodes in black and white, as well as special features from that previous release, alongside the colour version of the story will also be a part of this release as well, which is good to know. And then they've also started releasing a new book called Build the Dalek Set, which is in 6 parts, and that's now also available at Forbidden Planet, where they're giving you different parts of a Dalek so you can build your own high quality model Dalek. Spectacular features. Should you fancy wanting to build your own Dalek, they've actually made a whole book series which is going to be releasing. Well, it's going to start releasing from tomorrow, and there's going to be a new issue basically every week, all the way up to the 19th of February. So the first issue comes out tomorrow, the next issue comes out on the 22nd of Jan, third issue on the 29th, which is, funny enough, Chinese New Year. 5th of February will be when issue 4 comes out. Issue 5 will be releasing the 12th of Feb, and issue 6 releasing the 19th of February, should you want to get your hands on all the parts that you need to build a model of a Dalek. So pretty nice thing to do to keep you company if you're missing Doctor Who on our screens. At least you'll be able to build your own Dalek. Then on top of that, we also have the Doctor Who The Collection Season 7 limited edition packaging, which they're going to be rolling out very, very soon, should you want to get your hands on season 7. John Pertwee's 7th series as the third Doctor, which includes the stories. Well, of course, it includes gives you an opportunity to get your hands on some of his stories as part of the package, which are basically the first set of episodes that introduce John Pertwee in the world of Doctor Who, which is Spearhead from Space, Doctor Who and the Silurians, The Ambassadors of Death and Inferno, all a part of this Doctor Who The Collection set, should you want to get your hands on it. And then alongside this, Radio Times have actually released a downloadable, which they're celebrating 50 years of Tom Baker's 4th Doctor, and it's all to celebrate his 50th anniversary as the 5th Doctor, where they've released some rare archive photos in a 64-page digitalized that you can now download on the Radio Times if you want to basically have a chance to. And also, you're going to need to you're registered with a Radio Times account in order to download it if you want to get your hands on this 50th anniversary 4th Doctor book that they've released to celebrate Tom Baker's reign as the 4th man playing Doctor Who, and celebrating his character's 40th anniversary this year, which is going to be a great way to celebrate the anniversary of his Doctor Who debut, if you want to celebrate the occasion. And then there's also some portrait art of the 14th and 15th Doctors that you can also get your hands on. They've even released a t-shirt for the Time Hotel, which was obviously a part of the recent Joy to the World, which you can now get at Forbidden Planet should you want to honour the story now that it's recently released. But apart from that, really, I mean, there isn't, as you can obviously tell, there isn't obviously going to be a lot of news going on in the meantime, as we're still waiting for obviously for plans of the air dates for Doctor Who's new 2025 series, which is Series 2. I'm calling it Series 2, but some are going to call it Series 15, considering, some people called the last series Series 14. So it won't be too long until we find out air dates for Shooting Atwa's second series as the 15th Doctor, and when we're going to be able to see that series on our screen. screen as we await Shooting Atma's return, which is going to be great. But yeah, so that's at least a taste of things now happening in the world of Doctor Who in the meantime, as we are now obviously coming out of Christmas and celebrating the month of January. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you all for some more Doctor Who news. And yes, I've got some reviews coming up of the Underwater Menace animations, the Celestial Toymaker animations, and of course the TV movie still to come. So look out for those, and I'll see you guys in the next one.